Hey y'all, it's Margo from the Friar Homestead, and today we are making easy banana bread. This recipe calls for 3 ripe bananas, 1 cup of white sugar, 1 egg, a 1/4 cup melted butter, 1½ cups of flour, and to be baked in a preheated oven at 325 for an hour. Today though, I have been making banana bread 4 times the size. We are quadrupling this recipe today. I will put the recipe down in the bottom so that y'all can write it down and have it for your own keeping. So I've already got all our ingredients together: the bananas, the sugar, the melted butter, the eggs, and the flour. I've already greased and floured my pans, and that is just a little extra for us with the little bit of batter that's left over for us to munch on, because all these are going to be given away because the bananas were gifted to us, so we're gifting the banana bread. So here we go. I'm going to take the melted butter and pour it into my sugar, and then we're going to mix that well. It has this real creamy consistency. You'll know that it's mixed in and incorporated well. I've already cracked my eggs, so next you add in your 4 eggs. Now the recipe calls for 3 bananas per loaf of bread, but I use 4. I like to have that extra banana in it, and since we are making 4 times the regular batter, I took 16 bananas that were ripe and overripe, sliced them up, and I'm going to add them in to our batter mix. Next, I'm going to mix it real well with just a hand mixer, and it will break them up into clumps and bits and pieces. And then when we're done, we'll start adding our flour. Here we go. It will end up being mixed up way better when we start adding the flour. Even an experienced baker or cooker, parent, mother, child, anybody can get hurt, so be very careful when you are putting your fingers on or in the bowl when you're spinning it and turning it while using the mixer, because it would be too easy for your fingers to accidentally get caught up in it, and that can be a real bad accident. So just take caution. If you have children with you, make sure you watch carefully that they don't put their hands down there. But spinning it, for me, is the equivalent of having one of the big food processors or the bread makers. I don't have one, so this is what we did. So here we go with the flour. Now with the flour, I only added in about 1/3 to 1/2 at a time, because it is a big batch and I'm worried about the flour going everywhere. It does tend to mix everywhere, and whenever you're mixing it in, the flour tends to fly everywhere. So you mix it in just a little bit. Try to help keep some of the flour to mix into the batter. Now we get to take and start pouring it into our pans. Anytime you make any kind of mix this big, you're going to have a mess. We pour a little bit at a time in it, letting it go all the way around the pan, especially when you have bundt pans. And these pans fill slowly till it's between 3/4 and a little bit more than 3/4 full. And you use your spatula to help stop it. And then to go to your next pan. Banana bread is usually made in loaf pans. And with ours, I like to fill it up about halfway to 3/4. and then it's ready to go in. These are a little bit harder. Pour it in really slowly, keeping your spatula close. I know there are better ways to do this. I just am doing this in a pinch, trying to get it done. It's kind of I have to clean the top off of that. Anytime you make a mess like I just did, you have to make sure you go through and clean off the top parts of them and in between, because if not, those areas there are all going to burn. It looks like I'm going to have some left over, so we're going to fit it in here somewhere. So take you a couple paper towels and carefully wipe off the excess on these areas, just so that these areas don't burn. And try wiping off the tops just a little bit, because they'll do the same. And that's it. We'll put them in the oven, and for this much, we will be cooking this one and this one for an hour and 40 minutes. Keep an eye on it. Your stove might cook a little hotter or a little cooler, and if it does, then you might need to up or lower your time. And then when they're done, I'll put these in, because I only have 2 levels, and on the second level, it gets too hot, it cooks too fast. I'll put these in and let them cook for between 30 and 40 minutes. And I'll show you all the results here in a few minutes. What it looks like after it's done. This is the bundt cake pan. And this is the loaf. Gorgeous, huh?